sing. I used to remember Bakiza Gato, the Planketame of Africa, which is I used to live right there on the Oro Chubo, and I used to live right Oro. By the Smile Junction, we had a lot of people. We had Tony Kabade, we had my own man John Sharif used to dance, man. Oh my goodness, we have a lot of other people who sing. And I used to take part in the talent show too. Those days I used to like singing, "She's fresh, she's so fresh, exciting." All the songs I used to sing. Fabian, please don't laugh because my producer has already condemned me with a Meta Jabba. She can't sing, but she let her put more on me. So let's go back to some serious things, we talked about, and we go first to the president. Joseph Nyuma Boakai has mandated the ministries, agencies, and commissions promoting decentralization programs to begin the effective implementation of the Revenue Sharing Act, especially Chapter 7.2. And that 7.2 calls for the retention of 40% of all revenues generated at the county service centers. President said that the move will help the old age financial challenges that have impeded the effective and efficient operation of the county service centers.
In consideration of the implementation or implementing the law, the following decisions are herewith directed with our desire as a government to demonstrate strong political will and to indicate that the government is ready to move decentralization program forward. Number one, that the relevant MACs, including Liberia Revenue Authority and the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning, should begin to implement the Revenue Sharing Act, especially its Chapter 7.2, which calls for the retention of 40% of all revenues generated at county service centers. This will help to address the old age financial challenges that have impeded the effective and efficient operations of our county service centers. Number two, that henceforth we herewith direct that all sector ministries, agencies, and commissions related to the county service center to devolve approvals and signing authorities to their respective representatives with the necessary safeguard to enhance service delivery at the subnational level. This is intended to ensure adequate and timely service delivery and to reduce transaction costs for citizens who usually bear huge costs to travel to Monrovia to obtain signatories to complete whatever documentation processes that are initiated at the county service level.
President Joseph Nyuma Boakai there yesterday, and he was talking about the service center, the decentralization, also getting 40%. But something that he said that really struck me. He talked about, for signature, you got to travel all the way from Nimba to come to Monrovia, if to get just a signature. That's striking. We have Emmanuel Wanyu, who is an assistant minister from the Ministry of Internal Affairs for Research. The man wears so many hats. He's into the communication, he's into research, he's into everything. The guy is a walking encyclopedia from the Internal Affairs Ministry. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Hassan. Let me use a legal terminology to say a perch for my late coming, because actually we didn't conclude the discussion. Well, some things were on the plate. But I already made legal representation.
Well, your colleague, let me ask you. You agree with Matthew? That you agree with him?
Yes, I do agree with him. I think sometimes the court can grant clemency, or can grant dispensation. We can grant him dispensation.
Okay, so let's go into the what the president said, and then we'll weave into a local government act that is pending. So the president said that the decentralization, but it's actually started during Mother Ellen Johnson's Elizabeth period. Because I see some in Gambasa and in other places. Tell me about them.
Okay, so the issue of decentralization in Liberia is rooted in the TRC, the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. There are, conversations that nothing has been done with TRC recommendations, but there are 207 recommendations of the TRC. 54 of that, number 54 calls for decentralization.
Yeah.
And so government started an earnest effort to implement that particular session, which calls for the sharing of administrative, fiscal, and political powers with local government. Now, what we are running is local administration, where everything that happens in Monrovia, anytime Monrovia sneezes,
Everybody catches
cold. So as a result, when you have First Saturday in Monrovia declared by Madam Mirabro, First Saturday is everywhere in the country. So people come to Monrovia, whatever they see here, they copy it. So that have been administration. So we are now moving to local government. Local government, in essence, certain decisions will be made at the local level, which are necessarily not here. There are certain laws, there are certain regulations that affect a particular county or a city, which is not necessarily Monrovia.
Yeah, because everything is now one size fits all.
And it is because, back in the days, you are older person around here than all of us. So Liberia, if you needed to go to school, you come to Monrovia.
Yes.
If you got education, you need a job, you come to Monrovia. You got a job to pay you, you come to Monrovia. If you got a cash in your hand, if you needed to buy, you come to Monrovia.
And just to hold you there, in fact, I remember one of the last things that happened before the Civil War started. There was a car was ambushed between Monrovia and Bomi. They went to go pay the people with cash from here all the way to Bomi, and they were ambushed. That was the last.
Masters who live here with cash in their hands.
Paymaster live here with cash in their hand to go and pay people. And then there were people who ambushed them along the way and took some money. I think killed one or two, and the other guy ran away and they came back. So
there have been a lot of efforts made towards implementing the TRC recommendations. So with that, there was a national, just a little background, there was a consultation held by the Governance Commission led then by the late Councillor Dr. Sawyer, and then the citizens of Liberia reaffirmed that there should be governance decentralization because the country is so centralized, governance system, everything is.
And Monrovia is not Liberia.
And not just entire Monrovia, it was by the few elite in Monrovia. But now, if you come from Monrovia, even you are not elite, and that's why during the war, a lot of people died. They were innocent, but because they were connected to Monrovia, they had to suffer the consequences. So as a result, then the government decided to develop a platform, the policy. They call it National Policy on Decentralization in Local Governance. That platform, in essence, laid the foundation for decentralization in Liberia, and that was launched in 2012. Fast forward, the decentralization program was split into the two-pronged approach, looking at the legal implications, because the laws of Liberia, because of the centralized nature of our country, all laws made in Liberia supported a centralized system of governance. So, for example, the revenue sharing law, right? The public financial management law, it says, in essence, the revenue sharing, the PFN law of 2009, which was restated in 2019, in essence says all monies in Liberia, revenue is collected by only one agency, the ARA, and it is placed in something called the general revenue. When I go out to explain to the people in one bucket in Monrovia, and the law says it's the division that to share that money is only one group can share it, and it's the legislature through the national budget. So that's why when the budget is not passed, everything is like paralyzed because of that highly centralized system of governance. So even the revenue code. So all laws have supported a centralized governance system. So over the years, there have been efforts to make sure to dismantle, if you will, to make sure that the law support decentralized system of governance. So,
that's a strong word.
Yes,
dismantle.
Yes, I mean in my word.
It's actually taking a big hammer and knocking on the head.
Actually, we gradually, because decentralization is a political tool, so we take our time to do it. So we the legislature. I mean, all the two branches, especially the legislature and the executive, including the judiciary, have been very helpful in having this, because everybody's mindset is to ensure that yes, it is time for us to decentralize, because that what led to the war. because people fought because of they said there were marginalization.
Yeah.
Even though all the resources in the country are collected from the counties, but the benefits thereof being enjoyed by the few elite in Monrovia.
Because that's why the LETI, right?
Yeah,
LETI.
Yeah.
One of my friends that worked there before, and I always used to frequent there. I mean, the people are getting resources. Central government is getting resources from the counties and other places, but the places they're getting the resources from do not tend to benefit as much. But everything is coming to Monrovia. So I think the 40% the president is talking about, if you at least got something from somewhere, 60% come to the general bucket and 40% stays with the people. It betters their life. It does a whole lot of stuff for them, rather than bringing it here and Monrovia decide for them. So it's like just like you say, when Monrovia sneezes, everybody must catch the cold. I don't think it's
so that we have been focused on that, the legal framework to ensure to unpack what the centralized system of government, the legal framework, as well as looking at service delivery. Because in Liberia, if you needed to register your business, you have to come to Capitol Hill. You have to come to Monrovia, the LBR, which was then at the Ministry of Commerce, to register a business.
Where's Snapper Hill?
Where's Snapper Hill? If you need a birth certificate right now for adults, you have to come to Capitol Hill, right? If you needed a marriage certificate, people will just change their name, because I can always tell the people go to the town hall meetings, right? Okay, so the first time the young girl and the guy meets, she get the first child, she go to the hospital, she will say Fabian Queer, and the guy is, for example, I don't know, I don't want to call anything. Okay, when I go Fabian, okay, Teresa Paul and Emmanuel, when you separately, she called a child, okay, my child, your wife is listening.
She's not listening.
My wife is listening. She's listening. So, I mean, then the child will carry the father's name at that first baby.
Yeah.
After the second baby, she tends to now be belonging to that man.
Yeah.
She eventually changes her name, right? But she's not really, even though there may have been some discussion, because traditionally, when there's a direct payment, there's a marriage. Yeah. Once the two parents agree and that exchange is made, there's a marriage. But sometimes in those days, maybe now happening now, and it has affected women as well. The whole gender issue. So God forbid the man passes off and the lady is still young. In some instances, the parents will say, oh, why you came for, why you were here for is no longer here. So you have to make your way out. Yeah. She doesn't have any claim to any property because there is no documentation, right? Or you'll be forced to marry in some tradition or culture, marry a family member. I love the way you do. So now we are saying, in as much the direct payment is law, because it's a customary law. There are two laws. I know the customary and the Western law. What the customary
and the legal.
Oh, both are legal though. Yes. So the statutory law and the customary law, even though those are welcome, but also add the documentation there, which is the marriage certificate. Even some people getting married, going to church, they will have to come right here to a street before to CNDRA. But now we made an earnest effort, and in 2015, President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, then former president, launched a national deconcentration platform. The deconcentration platform says all agencies of government that have service delivery functions should move those service delivery functions
to the county
at the county level. And what we did is not just spray around, but we created a room, like a place, a one-stop shop called the County Service Center that the president mentioned. The County Service Center is a one-stop shop for documentation services related to permits, licenses, and
so you go to the county service.
So when you go to the center,
everything you want,
everything you want supposed to be there. That is the intent. I want to be a little bit
okay. I like the way.
Supposed to be there.
I mean, Fabian will say if you choose a work, it's supposed to.
Yes, supposed to.
But you're not saying they are there.
Supposed to be there.
Okay.
So in June 30th, 2015, we opened the first county service center, and we showed a picture yesterday to the president.
What was it in Buchanan?
Yes, he was then vice president. Former President Sirleaf had sent him to dedicate the service center in Buchanan. So we showed a picture. This is you, Mr. President, with your vice president. You know, he looked at that. If I Nima, he went there. So as of December 2017, we are opening 15 county service centers in all counties, one in each in a county capital. So you have bread registration, you have vehicle license plates.
Are they functioning as they're supposed to?
We have marriage certificates, psychosocial services, school lessons, labor registry, labor alien work permits, zoning. Those are the services that should be in the county service.
But are they working?
The reason why the president spoke.
See, I know you're wrong with that, but are they working?
They are not working to the capacity that we want it to reach.
Okay.
And I just want to say that. Okay. And that's why the president gave that directive yesterday.
Okay,
one of
good.
the major challenges.
We
have challenges because this program has been heavily donor funded. And at a certain point, donors, they are funding are time bound. Yeah. So the time got finished, we had to rely on government because it reached to a point that donors say, okay, we have helped to open it. Now it's government's responsibility to
you got to get wrong with it.
So we have been struggling to have it sustained. One of the issues is that these services, when they are there, the intent is if I want a marriage certificate, I go to the service center, I go to either the CNDRA window or the Ministry of Internal Affairs window, regardless, whether it depends on what I want, whether Western or marriage certificate. I fill in the form, me and my wife will do everything. We'll provide our documentation. The next thing, we'll go to the area window that is in the same building.
Yeah.
We'll pay the amount that is required. We'll come back, get a receipt. They will tell you, say, come back in 2 days or 1 day, get a certificate. The highest it will be because everything will be there. One problem we have had is signature powers are still with the heads of the authorities here in Monrovia. So as a result,
that's a challenge.
As a result, you have the people, the service center are now like a middleman, where they will do all the paperwork, how to bring it to Monrovia. So in Grand Crew or in Grand Jide, to take somebody who wants to register business because he knows that someone will get in contract to do catering because if he doesn't have the business registration and tax clearance, he cannot get a contract. So he got already some tape of that there is some business that is about to offer something for him to do a catering. Now he had to wait all that time. As a result, there is no need to do it at the center. Now he had to come to Monrovia back. Come back to Monrovia. So now the president is saying, going forward, because some agencies have been very hesitant because of issue of power. To release power is not easy. We have been working with them, talking with them, petting them, But right now, the president, having understood, because he's someone who is passionate about decentralization. That's why the minister was very happy yesterday, Mr. Yimale, to thank the president for his passion and his desire and the support to decentralization. Not even today, but then he was as vice president, president of the Senate, was very instrumental in making sure the local government law was finalized and signed by President Weah. So that happened now, the challenge we have. So now the president is saying institutions were established to serve Liberia, not Monrovia. Therefore, everything you can do to ensure the signing power is delegated because it is not given to us as internal affairs.
Yeah.
In the service center, if it is health, there is health staff that work on this health payroll that is within the service center. If it is commerce, business registry, the business registry staff is within the service center. What we do is to coordinate. That's why we have the coordinator there that coordinates activities, but the staff of the various agencies are there. So the president is interested in saying, give that signing power to your staff that is there because that staff represents you. Or let's work out all the modalities that are necessary because the intent was traveling to Monrovia. It's not easy. Transportation just for things that cost $50 or its equivalent, the transportation to come. Sometimes you don't have a family member in Monrovia. Even if you have coming from Raleigh, going to Internal Affairs office, people checking your phone. To erase all of that, government said we'll take the service center there.
All the risk involved.
And let's decentralized. So that's the intent of the president's. That's two information given yesterday. One is to ensure that signature powers are at the country level to ensure the intent, the true intent of service center is achieved. Two, like you said, the issue of funding. The service center only providing service over 300,000 people have obtained services at the service center since 2015 because the first service center we opened to the public in July 2015 in Bicano.
And revenue generated
and also
come to Monrovia.
All these services, like I say, the same costs as they are in Monrovia. For example, if you want a traditional marriage certificate, I know that it's $50 in Monrovia. It is the same amount you pay anywhere in the county service center. It will reduce the cost. So all services, the same cost here, it is the same cost there. It is not free except for certain services such as psychosocial services. So we have already generated a lot of money, but those money, because of the law we had that supports centralized government, all those money collected and put back
in one bucket.
And then we decide, Okay, the legislature have been deciding to say, okay, we'll get 13,000 to each service center. 13,000 for the whole year, barely minimum. So now, that's why, in fact, we say thanks to this administration. Right now, we have some funding, like the minister announced in a few days, that the funding to the service center has increased. In fact, the decentralization has increased. That's a major political will and commitment of the president and the legislature and the government as a whole, right, to ensure decentralization. So we're about to do that. But then there is also a law that supports that.
Okay,
because
we'll come to that though. Let me hear from the minister. I know.
Let
me hear from the minister, Matthew. Now you have been quietly listening to him, and of course, I mean that's something you will support, and which is something that the government has been doing. What role will you be playing now that I think Jeremy is listening to us, everybody listening to us, because the president comes up with these brilliant ideas, which was started by the President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, and it's been going on. Now that this is happening, what is the ministry doing now to ensure that people still get the message? I know it falls within the purview of the Ministry of Internal Affairs, but you are the one who drum up, who beat the loudest drum. So what are some of the things that you think you'll be picking up and be running with along with the Internal Affairs Ministry?
Well, first of all, I think I'm microphone number 3.
It's on. You on?
Well, first of all, I'm surprised that, I mean, when we put in place the county service center, but I mean, we didn't create the means for them to actually deliver the functions for which they were put in place. So the revenue sharing part of it, I mean, it's much easier to say that, as the president said, that we should start to ensure that they retain 40% of their revenue. But then the different delegated, sub, authorities from the different central agencies that we have in Monrovia.
Yeah.
I'm not sure they are the one collecting the revenue. It's the LRA that is still
collecting the revenue.
The legislature still has the power to allocate the revenue that the country generates
the way they see it fit.
Exactly. So I think it's going to go beyond just those service centers retaining 40%. It has to go. The legislature will have to give up some power to the county authorities in terms of administering.
And that's why I'm saying that it's difficult to give power.
You understand? In terms of how they will administer the 40%, that if they're going to be returning the 40%. From the Ministry of Information standpoint is to continue to advance public information about proper financial management, expanding public information as to the presence of these service centers, and so that, I mean, when the relevant structures are put in place, so that people do not have to, come to Monrovia or rely on Monrovia to be able to access the services that they can access. But again, in terms of financial management, it's a tricky kind of situation. We all hear about allegations of financial mismanagement and all of that. So enabling or allowing county service center to retain 40%, I think we have to put in place the structure to ensure that the management capacities in the county, the county authorities have the relevant financial literacy to be able to manage the revenues that they will be returning. And the legislature may have to delegate the power so that, I was thinking initially, for example, the budget is crafted as a document, is an outline as to how the government wants to, manage the revenues that it generates. Maybe we can think that part of the money that Ministry of Finance sends to those counties could account for the money that those counties are already generating with respect to the county service centers that are currently there. Maybe that would be, one way to try to solve that problem. But obviously, I agree with that the fact that we put in place those centers, then we still rely on Monrovia to ensure that they are functional and operational. I think maybe that was a slave, that was a miss.
So when you we don't have much time with you on the Fabian, you want to say?
Yes, like I listened to when you expanding on the decentralization process and even the deconcentration. My thing is that I'm still thinking about the signatures. Take for example, you have a county like Maryland County, to where I hail from, and you have the entire Southeast, Maryland and Grand Crew. You know, they have some remote areas still. So with signatures being given only in Monrovia, how do you think it's going to fit in with those counties? Because when you talk about the president's mandate, and especially when you talk about maybe relinquishing power, this is something so hard. How is it going to fit in? Because all part of the decentralization process, and just for signatures, and you have the county service centers there. Obviously, there must be people there to do that instead of coming. Like I gave you an example. I had a relative of mine who was getting married in River G, and she could not even obtain her marriage certificate. And she kept asking me to help her to do that. In the end, the husband said they wanted to come down to Monrovia to get married at the court. And so she asked me, how much you think I will pay at the court? And I told her the price. And she said, oh, wow, but then it's less. I think I will come down to come and get married to the court instead of waiting, because I cannot obtain that. And now you're talking about signatures. How is it going to fit in? That seems to be a problem to me, and a challenge also.
Thank you very much. And that's why Minister Yumale has indicated, and Hassan can attest to that, we will working with Ministry of Information, working with the ELBC to increase the level of awareness and information sharing to the public, because a lot is happening relative to decentralization. Minister Yumale is very clear. In fact, we have begun discussion with ELBC to have a weekly radio program, live, to explain to the people. So, like Minister Pia was invited yesterday at the program. If you were there, you have a deeper understanding. But he has another program yesterday, so he can give an excuse. Relative, because there are two things our president said yesterday. I only mentioned the issue of the signature power here to Matthew. The legislature has already done a lot. Like I said, all the legal bottlenecks have been removed. So now there's a revenue sharing law. When the president mentioned Chapter 7 of the revenue sharing law, which talk about 7% to the not 7%, 40% to the county service center, the president was making reference to the revenue sharing law of 2022. That law now says, instead of bringing all the money to Monrovia, the legislature made an earnest decision to say, now we have to share revenue with local authority. Chapter 7.1 and 2 mention specifically county service center, that all monies generated at county service center, 40% should be left for the operation of the county service center, because the legislature was very aware of the challenges of the county service center, and 60% come to Monrovia because of administrative reasons of these agencies. The law also provides for concessions in the counties. For example, can I say B Mountain, right?
Yes, B Mountain.
King Jaw,
Yeah.
for example. It says, and we'll come to explain each of these, it's very important. The law says if King Jaw, B Mountain is operating in King Jaw, and that town is affected by East Mountain, the entire funding that King Jaw, B Mountain has for the country, the percent will be left to King Jaw town. Percent will go to a particular percent will go to the county and the district.
Okay.
Yeah. And 60% will come to Monrovia. 25% will go all 15 counties, because there is a company in Liberia. Yeah. 25% of that money will go all 15 counties. And that 25% we say all 15 counties, and Kema will also get. Then 10% will go to Kema County. Yeah. Right?
Because it's from there.
It's from there. But particularly King George town, or whatever town that the money sits, there will be 5% of the revenue generated by B Mountain to the community, to benefit the community. So that's why it's happening now. That's what the law says. So everything we're talking is already been a function given by the legislature. So right now, the Public Financial Management Law of 2019 have been amended. So those portions that support the centralized governance system, they are already been removed in 2022. The revenue code
have been removed, have been restated and amended. So everything that has to do with the legislature had to decide. No, the legislature already made a decision through laws, through amendments of centralized that supported or laws that supported centralized governance system. The legislature already removed it. That's why the Supreme Court 2 years ago ruled, because we have in the past budget law, we have Article 9 of the budget law that talk about something called county sitting, where the lawmakers will go and preside over funding from the county. Is now removed because the local government law said there should be something called a group called county council. That county council is the statutory arm of the local government that is responsible to approve development plans and to approve county budgets. No longer Minister of Internal Affairs, no longer legislature, but it's that county council. That county council is already in place. So the local government law handles all those things. The lawmakers were aware and all those things were done. That's why when the ministry was still dragging its feet to ensure that happens, the civil society took the government to court. And the civil society won the case to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court said the local government law is the banning law. And so right now we went to set all the county councils. The next thing now is to operationalize them.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And then the issue, your question. So the issue of capacity
I just want
to manage the funding. There is something called county treasury framework.
Okay.
That treasury framework is supposed to be in each county,
Guys,
and that is the financial management arm. It is the small ministry of finance. So they get internal audit, you get financial management people, you get PPCC, and then Chapter 7 of the local government law also says the PFN law, all integrated laws of Liberia applies to local government.
So, Emmanuel, we actually have just 2 more minutes for this particular topic because
we have a lot to say.
Yeah, you have a lot to say. But the minister, you wanted to ask something?
Yes. I mean, so my confusion came, for example, you said the money generated is collected by LRA agents in the counties.
Yeah.
So these days, for example, CNDRA, maybe Ministry of Transport, people that are issuing driver licenses and all this, they're not collecting they are not getting the cash.
No.
So my confusion now is LRA is collecting the money, but they're remitting it back to the central government consolidated account. Even the 7.1 says that the money collected from the county service centers are going to go to the government of Liberia consolidated account. So what is the mechanism now?
Okay.
Yeah, the law.
There is something called transitory account.
I'm coming. Yes,
it's a temporary account.
Okay. The law says that 40% should remain in the county, but still the central government is collecting through the.
Okay, so what is happening now? There is a regulation that we are developing to clear all those doubts. The local government law gives a window of 10 years to the LRA to do what it is doing now. After 10 years, the function of collection will be the counties will now have the capacity to ensure to have in fact there will be a department of planning, budget and financing at the county level. So we establish all those units consistent with law, right? So like you're saying, that is something that it was well envisioned by the legislature is in the law. So right now, that particular portion, when the money gets, because like I said, LRA gets a window in each of the service center. So these marks don't handle money. It's LRA because that's the function they have. And for the next 10 years, it will happen that way. In fact, that 10 years was going to expire because the local government law was September 2018. So now we have to roll back most of the things now. So when our money is in the general account, consolidated account, that's what it's called. There is a transitory account. And that regulation that we're finalizing says, before central government can take on a portion, 60% and put it into central government account. That same day, that same hour of transferring is the county ongoing to ensure that it's measured. So we have everything, all your concerns. I would say we need to engage the radio, we engage ELBC, MICAT to be explaining this or go and have town hall meeting. We already have a plan. Not only radio, but go have town hall meetings working with MICAT.
Okay, man.
Your concern, Fabi. Currently, it is the heirs in Monrovia who are signing these certificates. That's what the president directed, because that's administration, that's administrative function. The president can give directive because he has the power as president of the country. He appointed them. He is saying now they should ensure that your sister that came from Weriwoji, you can go right to the county service center that is near the administrative building when you go into to Plibo, right on your right. And I don't know what you've been there.
It's still a distance. I know that place.
Yeah, go right there in Fishtown to have her document. The thing that made her to come because the hair in Moria was still signing. The person is saying now, no. Ensure that the signing takes place there instead of the person coming here because we now get a county service center. One of the issues that is impeding the function of the county service center, people have to come from wherever. It's not fair to them.
I hope it will be functional.
And that ministry was created to serve Liberia, not Monrovia.
Okay, Manuel, you will have to leave it there because we need a whole lot of time to discuss that. So we're just talking about the decentralization, also the Local Government Act, and we've exhausted enough time on that. We would like to come back to you. But let's maybe take a few bars of my favorite song, Kapao Kapao, so that people will unwind and listen to, and just recalibrate before we come to the next topic. And of course, when we come back, we'll be talking about the gay rights issue in the Methodist Church that has caused some brouhaha. All right, we'll bring down the music. So we now go to our next topic. As you may be aware, this weekend, last weekend was firing in Nima County, where Bishop Choir had gone to a church in Nima County, to be specific, in Gompa, or you might call it Ganta, that's fine. And of course, he talked about gay rights issues, and he was trying to explain, but then something came up. Let's listen to the confusion that started.
And pastors of the Gompa District Conference and United Methodist Church wish to present our position on the issue of same-sex marriage that is threatening the sanity and unity of the United Methodist Church in Liberia that has to do with redefinition of marriage and regionalization process that is being demanded by you, Bishop Samuel J. Choir, as spiritual head of the United Methodist Church in Liberia. We therefore say to you, Bishop Choir, and your cabinet to quickly schedule the special session. So, as was the major decision of the annual conference session here in Buchanan, Mombasa County, we want to say to you categorically no to the decision of the General Conference on same-sex marriage. So,
I didn't know religious book can say sow too. It says sow.
Yeah.
Well, right after that, we call up our correspondent in Ganta, Daniel Gatte, who sent in this report.
In an embarrassing scene at the Miller McAllister's United Methodist Church in Ganta, some angry members of the Gompa district chased Bishop Samuel Choir out of the church's edifice. The protesting church members believed the bishop was struggling to explain the same-sex marriage law recently passed at the General Convention in the United States. Bishop Choir the head of clergy of the United Methodist Churches in Liberia, had returned from their global convention and came to Ghana over the weekend to explain the recent decision which gave rise for the officiating of same-sex marriage in their churches, something that angered these members. Members of the Gompa district have been pushing for a special section after the return of their bishop to take a definite decision when he also denied such.
The issue that is at stake, that you people are carrying placards to say no to same-sex marriage. I myself feel that way too. I said no to same-sex marriage. I said no to same-sex marriage. I said it yesterday. I'm saying it today, and I will say it tomorrow. All right? Nobody is approving same-sex marriage in our Episcopal area.
What makes matters worse was when Bishop Quarry told members of the church who were not satisfied with the latest decision at the General Convention, who wanted to leave the Methodist Church if they wish to do so.
And there are processes for leaving the United Methodist Church. All of you here today, you carry placards. You didn't come in this church in group. You came as individuals. Your membership is in your local church. And if you feel slighted about what has happened at the General Conference, just go quietly in your local church and tell your pastor, I can no longer be in this church.
The action of the Methodist bishop triggered the members and their local leaders to issue a press statement.
And that's our man Daniel Gaten there. But then on the line, Vafle Kamara on the Super Money Show asked Bishop Choir what his information was on the issue.
I was not chased out of the church. When I went to Ghana Saturday afternoon, I was escorted by the district superintendent, one of our district superintendents of Gompa district, the Reverend Ebenezer Bella. Later did I know that it was a planned protest.
One of the reasons why the local churches members are angry with you is because you promised them that if you go to the global conference in the United States and this topic comes up, and you will make your position known against it. And if you are defeated in the argument and the ban is lifted, you will come back Monrovia and you will disassociate the church in Monrovia from the rest of the global church that endorsed this topic. Why haven't you done that?
In the first place, I'm a bishop in the United Methodist Church, right? Bishops don't argue at general conferences. Bishops don't vote at general conferences.
Bishop, you promised to leave. Now the decision has been taken. Why haven't you left? And this is where the anger is coming from, because this is why you promised the church here.
You're not a United Methodist. Now listen to me. I'm telling you something. Don't ask me why I have not left. I'm giving you reasons. So don't tell me, say, the people are angry you. Are you a United Methodist? Or are you on the side?
I am not, but I know the reason for which the people are angry with you.
Oh, you know the reason for which they are angry?
They are angry because you promised them.
Because I promised them. But I'm telling you the reason why I cannot leave.
Yeah, what is the reason?
Okay, the reason is, one, though they lifted the ban on marriage, on same-sex marriage, we have a new definition, about two definitions. And the first definition is that marriage is the union between a man and a woman. Or, it didn't say and, or it's a marriage between two consenting adults of faith.
Are you assuring us that a marriage between a man and a man or a woman and a woman will not be officiated at any United Methodist Church in Liberia?
No, it will never ever happen. It will not happen. I can get that assurance 100%. And if anybody wants to try my result, if any of my ministers will want to try my result, they should just go ahead and do that. Then you see what will happen.
No, but those people will be protected under the decision that was reached at the global conference.
No, they will not be protected because still the general conference has empowered the central conferences. There's a paragraph in our book of discipline, paragraph 543, count 14, that says that the issue of marriage and marital rights and ordination should be practiced based on the statutes of the land, of the place where the church is located.
And that was Bishop Choir there speaking to Vafle Kamara, an emotional Bishop Choir there. So, guys, let me come back to our discussions here. Let's talk about that. Fabian, first of all, are you a United Methodist?
No, I'm a Catholic.
Okay, because for me, I'm a Muslim, so I mean, I know they will say stay away, but because,
I'm a Catholic.
because they're asking Vafle, are you a
Methodist?
Methodist? So, so I'm a Muslim, some of different faiths, so maybe they will say, don't put your mouth in that one. Because but anyway,
I think the interview by the bishop shows some level of it being emotional.
Yeah.
Concerning the scene in Ganta. And then earlier you heard him talk about it being a planned thing. But I think in my mind, the fact is that once he went to Nimba County and he met that resistance or force from members there, I don't think he's going to try that to other counties, because this is something
somebody's going to replicate that.
Yes, this is something that is actually dividing the church here in Liberia. And so once if the people in Nimba County can come up with what they did in that video, in that interview, and then he being so mandatory as a bishop and telling them, if you don't want to be part of it, you can leave the church. I think there's going to be split. There's going to be split within the Methodist Church, because for those of them that are not accepting the same-sex marriage, maybe we'll have to find a way elsewhere. And as I said earlier, that scenario that happened in Nimba, if he tries going to other county to actually preach that message, I'm sure he's going to meet some other resistance like that.
Well, I don't want to put the minister and other people through that discussion. We'll leave them out of this topic. But let's see if we can open the lines and hear from the public itself about the United Methodist gay issue, and then the circumstances surrounding the bishop being chased out of that place. So give us a call on 0777 627 723. 0777 627 723 if you want to participate. We'll just take a few calls and then go back to our topic. So if you'd like to discuss that, 627 723 is the line to call. 0777 627. Somebody has just called. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Kim.
Good morning. How are you today, sir?
I'm fine. This is Edward W. Wilson. I call from Sinko.
Okay, so Ed, what's your contribution to this?
All right, I am not a Methodist, right? I am from the Episcopal Church.
Okay.
Years back, the Episcopal Church in America tried similar thing. And the bishop then was met with serious resistance like this in the Methodist Church. Look, if we are not careful with the West, our tradition will definitely be overwhelmed by this gay marriage. This is why that bishop had no reason taking that topic to a traditional county like Nimba, like anywhere. No, it is wrong. The church should not buy for anything. The church should not go for good and forget about our tradition. This is Christianity. The Bible says marriage is between a man and a woman. It is not a man and a man and a man and a woman and a woman. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your contribution. Let me take another call. Good morning. Good morning. Okay, let's take another call. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. How you doing?
Good. This is Eslolan Bobo from Lofa Kande to Bishop Lepoya this morning.
Good morning. So, what's your contribution to the topic?
This morning, I'm the members of Trinity Evangelical Lutheran Republic of Nigeria. But let me advance the bishop with the tradition. And we believe that Lufa and Nimbagande Bong, we are one religion. When the church said to him, he should leave even love that place so that he can come when the people send him back before. But the way he's saying the world now is not closing. Everything's open. As an uncle of the soil, when you open the line, please tell the bishop to leave. His love so important with the family. Thank you so much from Lofa Kande.
Thank you so much for your contribution. Good morning. Good morning. Hello, good morning. Good morning. Oh, I'm getting all these calls coming in. Nobody's speaking. Hello, good morning. Okay, let me. And we are still expecting calls. Give us a call. 0777. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is Fabian Do from every single.
Okay.
Let me say thank you for the topic. You know, let me say the picture of China struggle. For example, I'm a Catholic on the Holy Innocent Parish in Matani. So even if that comes to the character in La Blue, automatically our father do will leave. It's now our tradition, and we will not accept that. So the bishop should not go around be explaining what the day in America, I think it should be the high family to take care of, and then you should call the people to follow so that they can reconcile.
Thank you so much, sir. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Good morning. We have lost that person. Let's see if we can take one last call, and then we close this particular topic on gay marriage in the Methodist Church. Good morning. Good morning. Hello. Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, hello.
This is Chimamo calling from Tubuzo Family.
Okay, no, this is Hassan. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The reason why I'm calling for is that the people there, they're trying to tell God, you know what he was doing when you were creating man and woman.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, they're trying to, but what they're trying to say, they say now, that God was not supposed to create Eve, Adam. You know, those people that are doing those things, they don't know the kind of punishment that I had of them. And the bishop or even the apostles or the reverend or whatever that are accepting such a money act in our church, they will be here responsible tomorrow.
Okay, thank you so much. Let's take another caller. Good morning.
Hello?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Yeah, I'm Exodus Myato. I call you from Etikwaru.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to make an impact on the topic.
You're on the line.
Yeah, I want to first know, I hear people calling us Catholic, Pentecostal. First of all, I want to know whether these names are from the Bible or they are imitating of Christ. Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, there's nobody to answer that question. I'm a Muslim.
Yes, no, there's somebody in the studio, a person I'm asking.
Well, look, let's wait when that person will find somebody will call you. Let's give chance to other people to answer, to contribute. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning, Bobby.
Yes, Hassan.
How you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
My name is Mark Wilson. I'm calling from Painesville.
Okay, Mark, let's hear you.
I'll begin by saying, he who stands for nothing stands for everything. And he who stands for everything stands for nothing. Look, the Bible is very clear. Very, very clear. God created man and woman. And he destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah for homosexual and other kind of thing. So, to cut the long matter short, these people, the West, that came around different parts of the world, so they carry out missionary work. Yes, some of them were very genuine. But these are the same people that turning around, that are telling people to go against God. So if I were a Methodist, my brother, I will automatically resign from that church. You don't have to be a Methodist. You don't even have to. You can have your own Liberian church. You can have your own African. Other Africans have caught up from this thing.
But
we cannot allow the West to just be throwing us in the mud.
Yeah, but people are looking at support, because if you're a Methodist or Catholic, the support comes from the global body down. It trickles down to here. So
I agree, but you see, that's the problem. How can support define faith? How can support define a person's relationship with the Creator? Why should support define that? So
the African church, let me not go way other African churches are very adamant. They are not going to follow that kind of thing. Liberia, you must be able to stand up.
Okay, thank you so much. Let's get another caller in. This is the last call we're coming. Hello, good morning.
Yeah, good morning. I'm Harrison. We are from Lookington.
Yeah, okay, Harrison, let's hear you quickly.
It's a good topic. I want you to call the bishop. You got the time bishop will call, it will on the line somewhere. You call the bishop, then you call somebody from the other side, the opposing side, to look at the pros and cons of this thing. You got it?
Okay, we'll do that. We'll do that next time when that comes up. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning.
I want to come in my view on a talk show.
Yeah, you're on a talk show already.
Okay, so what I was saying, brother, why must they think that men supposed to have anything to do with a friend, fellow men in that direction?
So what do you want the church to do? The Methodist church to do?
That's what the previous caller just said. You want the thing or never knew, or the wife is just someone Gomorrah. I mean, this shouldn't be in our Christian circle in the country, because you know how many people are praying day and night. They are not known to the war, they are not known to the performance. For them to still call the nasty and call and things like that. But how many people praying for this country? And people especially that keep bringing in such in this country.
Okay, thank you. All right, thank you so much. I think that's the last call on this topic here. And of course, we've been discussing this topic. I don't want to get you guys involved. So, Fabio, what do you make of the calls from the public?
Yeah, diverse views. Anyway, you heard a lot of them saying they are not in support of that. And the last caller, she kept referring to the Bible concerning Adam and Eve, and then later on mentioned about Sodom and Gomorrah. I think from the callers, there's actually going to be a split, and I will quote the bishop: if you are not in favor or if you don't like, you just move away. And so you mentioned about the West being the ones supporting the churches here, and I believe they can stand alone. If they try having one of their own, they can stand alone and have the support. It doesn't necessarily have to come from the West.
Indeed, that's Fabian Kuya there. But now our final topic before we go, and this will interest all of you. Every time there is a probe, there is people are aggrieved with something, they resort into violent protests here and there. Salala is, a glaring example just recently where the damage, a huge facility, damaged car, damaged buildings, set things ablaze. And the Minister of Information was there. And of course, he said there should be no justification for someone to jump into violence. If you have a problem, why don't you sit down and talk it over? It's not only unique to Salala, where Minister Jeremy Pierre talked about, but also like B Mountain. From Kipma, people will go against me and say, Hassan, why are you saying that? But should you be damaging properties? Because when you damage your properties, of course, how would the company come back? Because before the company goes forward, they have to come back and do an assessment, rebuild those structures before they can, and that was unplanned. I'll come to you, Martin Yemple, because your minister was someone who frowned on that. So what do you think the government should be doing now to arrest this situation? Because it's an old age thing where after the Civil War, everything is violence everywhere. The pimping guys jump in front of you, damage your property, damage your cars, do everything. Then they tell you, Papi, your son, sorry. But when you just hit them a little bit, they burn your vehicle. When do we say enough is enough?
Well, Hassan, I think people do not appreciate, the value of peace. And maybe people do not appreciate it, what the cost of violence in the country is. And as Minister Pia said at the press conference on Tuesday after they paid a visit to Salala Rubber Corporation, as a country, we're struggling with unemployment. And that is not unique to Liberia. Most developing countries are facing this problem. So when you look at the president's arrest agenda, ARREST, the T stands for tourism.
Yeah.
And that sector is like the lowest hanging fruit if we want to deal with the issue of unemployment facing the country. So if we expand the tourism sector, we're hoping that investors will be attracted. And when they come to invest in that sector, that can create massive employment for the people. The Salala Rubber Corporation is a private investment. Now, if we are trying to, brand and market the country as an attractive destination for tourists or for people who are interested in investing in the sector to come to Liberia and invest so that our people can get employment, what those investors out of the country look for those reports. So a private investment in B Mountain, what happened? People had issues and they went on the rampage. They burnt companies' properties. They destroyed properties. Similar thing happened at Salala Rubber Corporation. People are aggrieved. They turn their anger on companies' properties. If someone has millions of dollars and they want to come and invest in the country, what those reports do is that they cause those people to have a second thought. Is my investment going to yield the returns for which I'm going to make those investments?
Because if I go there,
because obviously
somebody's angry, they could just
exactly. I mean, in human interaction, we always have conflict.
Yes,
we're not going to get away from that. But how we resolve conflicts? Because I'm going to go put in my investment. Some laborers are going to get angry with me. They're not going to like some of my policies, and are they going to turn on me? So, as the minister said, the government is trying to set a deterrence. About 13 people who are the alleged culprits of that violence have been arrested, and they are going to face the full weight of the law. And the government has said that we're going to use this situation to set an example, so that we don't send a message as a country that this is a lawless country, or that when private investments come, they are not protected. Again, we assure people watching internationally who want to come to Liberia to invest to say that what happened in order at B Mountain or at Salah, those are just aberrations. That is not the norm. Liberia is a peaceful country. It's an attractive country. We are open for investments. We want investors to come. The law takes its course. Investments are secure. When people come to the country, they come to invest. We can assure them the government will protect their investment. Now, the damages at Salala, what will happen? Maybe some of those companies may have insurance, but maybe the cost for that company to be reopened, some of the costs will have to be borne by the government of Liberia.
So, Fabien, he used the word full weight of the law.
Yeah.
Does the law has weight?
Sure.
No, tell us
consequences. Yes, just for example, what he said concerning the incident in Salala, and 13 persons have been arrested for the alleged act. They'll be forwarded to court, and before being forwarded to court, I'm sure they are in the custody of the police being investigated, and so investigation takes time to come up with all the facts. And so when the police come up with all the facts from the investigation that is being done, and then found probable cause and forward them to court, the law will take its course based on the charges, and they're going to answer to those charges as to whether they are guilty or not, or what prompted them to do what they did, or what they allegedly did. Yes, and so once they are being brought to court, they try securing lawyers to go in their defense or what have you, and so they're going to prove that case. And if they are found guilty, obviously the law will take its course. If there's some fine or jail sentence, obviously it falls within that range.
Emmanuel, I know you've been listening. This is not your terrain, but maybe final words, because we've got about 2 more minutes to close the program. What would be your final word on all of these things that we've been talking about? About decentralization and all that stuff.
It is my terrain because the Ministry of Internal Affairs is in charge of the peace building of the Ministry of the government.
That's
in
right.
fact, we have a concession office at the ministry. We got the peace building office. We got a national peace ambassador.
Oh, yes,
so all these things we're talking about, they are linked to us. Not only a concession, but violence tendencies are, like everywhere right now. If maybe they have been resolved, but in Hapo, young people got on the rampage and went to the prison and broke up the police station and burned the vehicles. Right now, they have to take police inmates from Harper and bring them to Fishtown.
Okay.
I mean, we have to stop this. Not only concessions, and that's why the minister recently was speaking at the ArcelorMittal in Yekepa to warn against people using the culture and tradition. They will just invoke the bushmaster to come out and block concession areas and just go to concession area and say the expats will not leave and all of that. I mean, in as much as there are a lot of issues, those MDAs have not been they are not being lived up to the MOUs, but we're gonna use violence. So all of us here, we condemn any violence act against concession or government or any infrastructure. We are against it. Finally, I just want to say thank you, Hassan, and congratulations for your appointment along with Matthew. And say on behalf of the Minister of Internal Affairs, we are committed to engaging with the Ministry of Information. ELBC very shortly will start our radio program. The community people who are listening will go out to you to the counties using all channels, and somebody who is from the media background will ensure that happens.
Thank you so much. Fabian?
Yes, next Friday we'll be back here, and we'll be adding other features on the program, like having our health tips and what the law says and what have you. And so it's a good thing being here, and we will continue to do what we are doing best.
Minister?
Well, thank you very much, Hassan. It's been a pleasure to share the breakfast with you and with Wenyu and Fabian. It's very good friends. So thank you very much for the good work that you're doing.
Well, thank you there. We've been talking a whole bunch of stuff, the Americans will say. We've been talking about issues in the media. And so I'm Hassan Kiawo and taking leave of you. Next week, Fabian will be right in their seat and I will be in her seat. Thank you and bye-bye. We didn't discuss one topic, which is the health literacy part. I will save it for next week.